So, what is the Diverse Pathways for Early Childhood? The Diverse Pathways for Early Childhood is a project and a collective that was initiated by myself back in March 2025, and it emerged from looking at the lineage, the scholars, the thinkers, the advocates, those of lived experience who have been consistently identifying that the way in which we describe and the ways in which we assess children's development is currently not fit for purpose, especially if you are a child that has a divergent developmental pathway. You do not fit into these traditional, conventional, and typical notions of development. As early educators, as specialists, as parents, and as carers, we got really tired that when we were picking up child development guidance, when we were looking at parenting books, when we were looking at illustrated guides to how children develop, it only ever really represents one type of child. And then this type of child is positioned as the ideal or the right way to develop. And this child usually falls under the social construction of normal, even though we know there is no such thing as normal. Every child is on their own unique developmental pathway. So when we have an education system that is built on the idea that all children should strive to fit in to these socially constructed ideas of normal, that is why we see such an intense level of exclusion. It's why we see such an impactful set of outcomes for our children where they experience more adversity. So the Diverse Pathways Project is a project which is about expanding your access to tools, resources, and advocacy for those children that don't fit in to those neuronormative pathways and who don't want to fit into those neuronormative pathways. It is a resource suite which includes training, digital tools and resources, advocacy guides, child development guidance that is diversified, and it is aimed at early years educators, parents, carers, and specialists. And it is about broadening our understanding of child development beyond these very narrow, very rigid, and often quite limiting milestones. Our children are so much more than these very normative milestones. So we challenge traditional views of development, and we also challenge the idea that if a child does not fit into these ideas of normal, that they are immediately viewed as delayed or deficit and in need of remediation through early intervention. We challenge the idea that when a child has a developmental difference and or need, that we just need to look at eliminating that difference or need. So, for example, if a child is autistic, this belief that we need to make them less autistic, actually, we need to give those children support, but that support needs to be affirming and helps them to understand their lifelong difference. As a collective, we have come together and we are very open that we reject the SEND system in its current format. We also reject the terminology that is associated with the SEND system. We do not, in particular, believe there is any such thing as SEN. We also think that that terminology is offensive and limiting and harmful to children in its current infrastructure. We don't want to fix something that we see as beyond repair. We want to reimagine child development entirely. We want to reimagine education entirely, and that includes the ways in which our children play, their communication, the ways in which they regulate, sense, and exist in the world. Diverse Pathways recognizes that children develop along many different valid developmental pathways, and our role as educators, as parents and carers, as specialists, is to attune to those differences and provide compatible experiences, and recognizing that inclusion is not about all children accessing the same thing. It is about offering those variations that then provide that right fit for a child. We reject notions such as school readiness or conformity, and we are inviting those who prescribe to our diverse pathways. We invite those to really think about what is developmentally meaningful to the child. We have a specific focus at diverse pathways on the quality of life of our children and making sure that on the journey to their outcomes that they are affirmed and validated along the way. We are a group that is evolving, learning, doing lots of unlearning, but we are mainly engaging in the act of reimagining and also sitting with the discomfort of some of the unknowns. So we're really challenging some of our own pedagogies. We do not want to be prescriptive with our work. We want to be expansive. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, you can get involved in the work of Diverse Pathways for Early Childhood, and you can visit our website. And you might be watching this from the website now, where you can explore all our different resources.